Hi, team. I just wanted to share a little bit with you. I am getting asked a lot, especially right now, about balance and about just kind of juggling everything and working from home. If you're watching this years down the road, we're in the middle of the 2020 coronavirus quarantine situation. And so, a lot of us are working from home. And not only are we working from home for the first time, but we are working with kids being at home and having to also be teacher, maybe a spouse is at home as well. And that's a whole another level of fun. And so, I'm just getting a lot of people right now that are saying, I want to work, I need to work, but I feel so overwhelmed with all there is to be done. And so I don't have all the answers by any means. And I certainly, if you could look around and see, you can see this situation over here. We've got card tables set up. We've got dirty dishes still over here. The rest of my spelling books, up here on my desk. I have all kinds of things going on. So I don't have all the answers by any means. And this is the first time that I have done my hair and makeup in a solid, I would say, 6 days. So definitely don't have things together. But I do have a couple of tips that I just wanted to share with you and a couple of things just to keep in mind. And that is in number one, right now, we are going through an unprecedented, weird, we just keep calling it weird in our house. Like, how do you feel? Feel weird. Everything's weird. Just feel weird, right? Like, it's just a weird time. Everything feels a little uncertain. There's no stop date. They're not saying, okay, May 1st, all of this is over and go back to normal. We don't really know when the end date is. And so there's just a lot up in the air. And I think because of that, mentally things feel weird, and just at home with our new schedules and our new normal, things feel weird. And so, I just wanted to share a couple of things that are working for me, and just hopefully encourage you just a little bit, because again, don't have all the answers, but I do have a few things that I try really hard. Right now, number one, the thing that you need to be doing, especially as a woman that is possibly a mom, a wife, and now a homeschool teacher and a business owner, you've got a lot going on, is give yourself a ton of grace. This is, again, such an odd time to be going through. And right now is not the time for you to be heaping more guilt upon yourself for having a bad day, for not getting out of your pajamas, for feeling like you yelled at your kids 3 times and you're doing the exact same, you've cooked the exact same meal 4 nights in a row. Like, I don't know if anybody else's kids have just pretty much lived on chicken nuggets and Annie's macaroni, and some veggie sticks here and there. Okay. Like, that's the best that I've got at this point. And so I think right now, the number one thing is just giving ourselves a ton of grace. We have to, because if you're someone that's constantly going to be nitpicking, yourself to death during this time, you're never going to feel like you're living up to your own expectations or just anyone's expectations. So, that's number one. I'm trying to remember every single day, this is weird. Give yourself grace. Laugh as much as possible, because you'll go insane if you don't, or develop a drinking problem. I don't want either. I don't want to go insane, and I don't want a drinking problem. So, a couple of things that I do. I have this sheet, and I have shared this before, and I'll probably make its own video. I'll make my own video on this. I'll make my own, you know what I'm saying? I'll make another video just about this, but this is what I work off of every single day. Now, I love a short checklist like this, and you can see this is kind of like for the week. This is a fresh one that's not all filled in. And so this is day 1, day 2, day 3, 4, 5, 6, right? You'll notice on here, and your numbers may be different than mine. I've been doing this a really long time, but I always start out with gratitude. I make sure that I'm encouraging other people, because, man, I love encouragement, so I want it coming back to me. And what you put out in this world is what comes back. I do know that. How many people did I ask to host a post? How many host a post was I able to get up today? And then follow up. And you'll notice here, I love this sheet because I can do little check marks all throughout the day. So when I get my daughter set on spelling and my other one watching her Zoom with her class, I can go and try to get 4 host a post up. Boom, I've got check marks. And all throughout the day, I've just got these little check marks. So I feel like there's small wins all throughout the day. And it keeps going. Yes. And again, I'll do a full training on just this, but how many people am I asking and following up with? How many people did I add to my social media? Am I interacting? I'm making sure that I want to interact with other people on their page, because if all I'm doing is posting, but I'm not interacting, Facebook is not going to show my stuff to people, or on Instagram. And so those kinds of things Again, just a little all throughout the day. When I have a free minute here, when I have a free minute here. Gone are my Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. My girls go to a hybrid homeschool. And so Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm used to homeschooling with whatever the teacher sends home. So in that regard, I'm not completely a fish out of water, but I am definitely a fish out of water in that Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, my girls are normally at school from 7:55 until 5 p.m. with their after school stuff. So I have a lot of me time and work time on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And I don't have that going on right now. And so I am having to do my normal amount of work. I always joke that I cram about 40, 50 hours worth of work into that Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I don't have my girls. And so now that I don't have that, trying to find little pockets of time all throughout the day is key. And then again, giving myself grace and not being, because I don't want to be the mom that yells. I think we've established this. I don't want to have a drinking problem. I don't want to go insane. And I don't want to be the mom that screams all day. And I feel like when I am at my wit's end, and I feel like I have all these expectations on me, that's who I become. I become that ugly mom that yells and lashes out, or the ugly wife that yells. And I don't want to be that person. So as silly as it sounds, having a plan and knowing where my time is going to go. Sorry, I'm getting a weird shadow in here with the light. Having a plan for my time and knowing what I'm going to do next, that when I have that free moment, what I'm going to focus on when I'm done is huge. And so I would highly encourage you, whether it's my list, this is loaded in the files on our team page, whether it's a list that you make up yourself, that's we call them our 6 list, that's essentially these things: host a post, follow up, asking new people, interacting, adding new people, those types of things. Are you doing those? Are you doing them on a daily basis? Are you repeating them over and over and over? That's the important thing. However you set it up and do it, maybe you get up early and work 1 hour in the morning, and then you don't work again until the kids go to bed, or you take like a quick break in the middle. That's fine. However you do it. This is what is working for me right now in this time all throughout the day. But the other thing is, I just have to tell you guys, and this is just 100% honesty, and I don't really know exactly how to fix it. I just know how to make it a little bit better, but I don't know how to perfect it. I've really tried to simplify as much as possible, simplify my life, saying no. And that's kind of easy right now to say no to stuff because there's nothing really going on. But focusing on the fact that right now my expectations need to be lowered a little bit. And my expectations really are, as a mom, as a wife, and as a business owner, and then as a friend, and my relationship with God, my relationships with my friends. Those are really like the only things that I am trying to focus on right now, because everything else kind of is leading me to feel super anxious, right? So these are the things that I am focused on right now. And finding out within those kind of 4 categories, what makes me feel the most successful? When I lay my head down at night, what makes me feel like a successful mom? Was it that I was tuned in? Was it that I was able to put my phone down and be fully focused on them for this 2 hours for work, for their homeschool? Is it that I didn't yell? Is it that we laughed and danced in the kitchen a lot? Like, is it that we baked something fun, or that they were smiling and laughing, and that I didn't have them in front of the TV just all day, which, by the way, that happens sometimes. Like, sometimes it's literally PB&J, Goldfish, and like Mulan, or not Mulan, what's the one they love? Moana, like 500 times. In the light where the sun it calls me. That's all I hear all day long. And so sometimes it's just full of that, you guys, and that is okay. The deal is that I just don't want that to be what I'm remembered for and who I am all day, every day. But a couple of those days here and there, like if that's what's needed for sanity for them and me, then that's okay, right? So find out what that expectation is. Kind of take a second and think, okay, what makes me feel like a successful mom? What makes me feel like a successful wife? Ask your husband, ask your spouse, ask them and say, hey, what do you feel like makes me a good wife? You might be really surprised. You may have all these expectations. I know I remember thinking, I did this exercise, if you want to call it that, with my husband a couple of years ago. And the answers he gave me blew my mind, because in my mind, he's a clean person, and I'm very much a disorganized, like a mess doesn't bother me. I don't like dirt, but I can do mess. I can have my like clothes everywhere and like my makeup all scattered. I don't care. My desk is a mess. He can't handle all of that. So I, in my mind, thought, well, I don't have the laundry done. that's bothering him. He thinks I'm a bad wife if I don't have that done, or, oh, the kitchen's not wiped down the way it needs to be. So there's dishes in the sink. He must think I'm a bad wife. And you guys, it blew my mind. I remember one of the first things he said was, I just love when you're happy. Like I feel like I love our marriage when you're happy. Like when you're not constantly critiquing yourself, critiquing our marriage, critiquing the kids, critiquing other people. Like when you're just kind to yourself and to everyone else and you just laugh a lot. Like that's what I love. That makes me feel like I'm being a good husband because I'm making you happy. And I thought, oh my gosh, are you serious? Wow. Okay. Well, I could do that. Like I could laugh more. I could be more lighthearted. Simple stuff, you guys. It was the simplest stuff. And I was putting all this expectation on myself that I needed to do numbers 1 through 25 to be a great wife. And it was really like 1, 2, and 3 for my husband. So simple. And so I try to write those things down a couple of times a week to remind myself and focus on those. And remember, hey, the measure of me being a good wife today is not, did the towels get moved from the washer to the dryer? Because they didn't. I've washed them 4 times already this week. So they haven't gotten moved. But that's not what my husband's looking at, right? Like his expectation, what does he want? What makes him feel like I'm being an amazing wife? What makes me lay my head down on the pillow and feel like I was a good wife that day? Those are the things that I want to be focused on. Everything else, I've got to be able to move it from my plate. Same thing with being a mom, same thing with being a business owner. So do the same thing with your business. What do you want in your business? Do you want to look down? Do you want to, look up at the end of the night, not look down. Do you want to look up at the end of the night? I'm saying that right, aren't I? Do you want to look up? You want to look up at the end. You want to look at the end of the evening and say, today was a successful day in my business because I did X, Y, Z. List those things out for yourself, and they're going to be different from what I think, right? Like, for me, getting this list done makes me feel successful. If you're not a list person, and if for you, it was just being consistent that day and you sent out 10 messages, boom, do you. But find that thing that makes you feel successful and then go all in with that. I think the problem that we have is that we get so caught up in looking at all these other places at the definition of success. And that's what makes us feel so off balance, right? That's what makes us feel like, I can't keep it all together. I can't hold it all together. It's because we really think that there's this list of expectations when in reality, there really are a few things we need to be doing to be successful and to lay our head down at the end of the night and say, hey, today was a good day. I did okay today. But I'm going to tell you that, and then I'm going to also tell you this. As someone who kind of struggles with perfectionism and as someone who kind of struggles, who has to fight that. I'm getting better, but I've definitely had to fight that my whole life, who's very success and goal-driven and success-oriented and admires that in other people. Like, I have a really hard time. I have a hard time with that. As someone who's kind of wired that way, I do need to tell you honestly that probably at least 3 or 4 out of 7 nights a week, I lay my head down and go, I was a failure today. I failed in one of these areas. Like if I feel like I was a really good mom and wife, a lot of times I feel like I failed my business. Or if I feel like I killed it in business, like this afternoon, you guys, I'm having an amazing afternoon. I've signed up 2 customers. I had a 45-minute talk with a potential. I've got another girl texting me wanting to know about how she can sell coffee samples. I mean, I'm having a great afternoon, but honestly, I'm going to get done with this and then I'm going to have to shut everything down because I feel guilty that for 4 hours, I've hardly seen my children or my husband, right? So I know that 3 or 4 nights out of the week, it still doesn't feel like enough. And I have to remind myself to go back to number 1, which is to give myself grace. So that's just some stuff that has helped me. Again, you guys are catching me in the process. This is an ongoing journey of mine, really trying to feel more balanced, if that's even a word. I don't feel like that should be in our vocabulary as moms, wives, business owners, to be real, just women, men in general. I don't think that there is such thing. If I'm being perfectly honest, something is always going to weigh a little bit heavier. And so what I'm looking for more than balance is integration. I love that this right here allows me to be a mom and a wife, and be a good friend and still be able to work my business. And so I'm always looking for ways to kind of integrate what I do into my life that I love, not the other way around, if that makes any sense. And so that'd be something that I would just really try to encourage you to focus on, because that's the word that I go after all the time. I just want to integrate everything. I want my business to be integrated with my with my life, not my life to be my entire life to be my business. And so when those things are happening, then I do feel a sense of balance. I can lay my head down and go, okay, today was a pretty darn good day. The last thing I'll share with you, and I've shared it on a few videos, so I won't go into detail, is just having some kind of reflection journal or some kind of a reflection, whether you want to call it a journal, whatever, just a checklist. Maybe it's something even in your phone that you kind of go through that makes you take a quick inventory. And on my reflection list every night that I'm looking at, it flat out says, how did I do in my business? How did I do as a mom? How did I do as a wife? How did I do in my relationships and my relationship with God, just spiritually? So what did that look like today? And how can I make it even better for tomorrow? What went well? What would I improve on tomorrow? So that I'm always trying to grow and learn, but not just completely, I don't know, just badger myself like I used to. I mean, I used to be way, way, way meaner to myself. And I'm learning to give myself grace because I would never talk to my daughters the way that I talk to myself. Why did I get teary when I said that? But I get so, and I know some of you do the same thing. You're so stinking hard on yourself and you have this idea of perfectionism, and like you would never talk to your kids that way, right? You would never look at your kids and go, are you kidding me? You completely screwed up and failed today. So why do we talk like that to ourselves? And why do we put that kind of pressure on ourselves? So that's something that's definitely helped me as well, is just really trying to give myself as much space and grace as possible as I can right now. Man, I rambled a bit, sorry, but I hope that that helps for those of you that kind of are feeling, especially right now, just a little bit like off and a little bit like, how do I manage and balance all of this? You kind of can't. I hate to give you that news. You kind of can't. You just need to do the best you can, and you need to lower your expectations and redefine them a little bit to figure out how you can be the best at a few things instead of trying to be all things to all people, because that is not realistic, sister. It's not going to happen. So we all got to let that go. Okay. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys soon.